So here's the deal. When it comes to your money, there are only two sides to the equation. There is your income and there is your expenses. And your income can only do so much based on what your expenses are. And so when it comes to saving money, right? When it comes to doing anything with money, we have to have the money available to do it, quite obviously, right? And that is a big issue for a lot of people. A big issue with people is they don't think that they can save money because they don't make enough money, or they don't think that they can save money because their expenses are too great, right? They have too much going on in the way of expenses, right? There are two sides of this equation. And a lot of people think the only way to get out of a situation where you can't save money or you don't think you can save money is to make more money. And they think that it's very difficult to go out and make more money, which I'm not going to deny that it's difficult to make substantial amounts of money, right? It takes some skill, it takes work, right? But there are things that you can also do to the expense side of what you have that can really help you out. Now, that is to say that your expenses are out of control. Because what could definitely be the case is that your expenses really aren't out of control. You could be living a pretty bare bones, generic lifestyle, not doing anything too out of control, staying out of debt, all these different types of things, and not having too much that's draining your cash flow. And yet you don't make the money in order to cover your expenses and save the amount of your income that you need in order to do one thing or another, okay? Now, I understand that both of these situations exist. I understand that there exists a situation both where you make enough money, you just spend it on too much stuff, right? And that's a very, very common situation. But there's also the situation where you don't make much money and you don't spend much money. Therefore, you don't have much money left over, right? It's just a very, very tight household based on the income that is being brought in. Well, the good news is that you can work towards fixing both of these issues. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm not saying that you can completely get rid of the issue that you have, but hopefully, my hope for you is that you can get to a point where you can start putting money away in some way, shape, or form. And hopefully, that can look like a couple things. That can look like you living below your means and actually making the choice with your expenses to cut down on some things in order to live below your means. Or you can begin to make income where you have the margin to live below your means, because some people just simply don't have the margin in order to live below their means. They do not make enough money for just the basic necessities of life, much less being able to put money away for retirement, or put money in an emergency fund, or save for their kids' college, whatever it may be, right? And so we have to fix both of these problems in one way or another. And so I'm going to go through a bunch of ways today, a bunch of tips on how you can save money. Some of them are going to help you with the first problem, which is, hey, I don't make enough money, right? I definitely don't make enough money. I'm not living an extravagant lifestyle, and therefore I can't save. I can't save money because I don't make anything. And then the others are going to help you to fix the second and more prevalent of the two, and that is, I make plenty of money, even though you may not think you make plenty of money. You make plenty of money, but you spend too much of it on crap, okay? You spend too much of it on things that you absolutely do not need. So we're going to go about trying to fix both of those issues with all of the things that I'm going to tell you about how you can save money, ways in which you can begin saving money for yourself, and things that you can do, actions that you can take in order to get the ball rolling on your savings. So the first one, and the probably most straightforward, yet the most difficult to do. And this is really going to help if your expenses are just way too high. Get out of debt, okay? Say goodbye to debt. Stop taking out debt on anything at all, okay? And get your debts paid off. Because, why? Because I talk all the time about your debt being a strain on your cash flow, right? If you have debt, it's going to decrease the amount of cash flow that you can keep in your house, therefore decreasing the amount that you can invest, thus decreasing the amount that you can save, thus decreasing the amount that you can give. It decreases all the other parts of your financial life, right? And so if I have no debt, then I have money, right? If I have no debt, then I can actually pay for things in cash. I can actually put money away. I can actually save money. I can actually have money in case something bad were to happen in my life. So you need to say goodbye to debt. This is why in the financial action plan, I tell you to get out of debt right before I tell you to build up a fully funded emergency fund, because you don't have the money or the time to build up the fully funded emergency fund while you're still in debt, right? While you're still in debt, you can't build up a fully funded emergency fund with any type of veracity. You can't build it up quickly. You can't build it up in a way that it is going to be able to stand without you having to dip into it in order to pay your debts at some point in time. You notice I also don't go into investing heavily until the sixth part of the financial action plan. And the fourth part, obviously, is paying off all your debts. Why? Because I know that you won't have significant money to be able to invest heavily if you consistently have money flying out of your door going towards debt payments. Okay, so saying goodbye to debt, getting rid of debt, is the biggest thing that you can do for yourself in order to create margin. And when I say margin, I mean the difference between what you make and what you spend, right? That is your margin. That is the living below your means, right? The amount that your expenses are below your income is how much you are living below your means. And in order to live below your means, getting out of debt and staying out of debt is a huge deal. You know, I don't just say getting out of debt. Getting out of debt, yes, is important, right? Paying off your debts is extremely important. But if you do not stay out of debt, then at some point your cash flow will again be strained by the idea of debt payments, by the idea of having to pay on debts time and time again. So saying goodbye to debt, huge one. If you don't do that, then none of the other ones apply really too well, right? Try that first, and then we can do some of these other things that are really smaller in magnitude, and they may actually take a little more specific work from you. But getting out of debt is something that you can do. You just have to work towards that end and be very intentional about trying to do so.